Back in the 1920s and 30s, some refrigerators used toxic or explosive gases to keep their contents frosty, which killed people. So E.I. DuPont de Nemours and Company, or DuPont, set out to find a replacement for these dangerous gases. They wanted something that could withstand the low temperatures inside refrigerators without seeping out and killing people. And what they found was Teflon, aka PTFE, a chemically inert and heat-resistant substance. At the time, no one knew why it had these miracle properties, but today we know it's because its molecules are bound together by some of the strongest chemical bonds in the world, carbon-fluorine bonds. These bonds are extremely stable and don't react with most other chemicals, which is why your non-stick pan doesn't melt when you use it. But what's more, thanks to those strong bonds, Teflon is also indestructible. You can incinerate it, and it'll just release toxic fluorine gas. You can't biodegrade it. Microbes can't eat it. It's basically a permanent fixture on this planet, unless you really want it not to be. And in the 1940s, the US government wanted it not to be in something called the Manhattan Project, which developed the first atomic bombs. Specifically, the military needed a way to process and contain the radioactive materials they were working with, which they accomplished using, you guessed it, Teflon. But the majority of Teflon ever made wasn't for national security, but for commercial uses like non-stick cookware, which exploded in popularity after the 1960s. Along with that came a whole lot of other uses, from clothing to industrial processes. But to make Teflon, DuPont had to use another chemical, one that sounds scary even if I don't pronounce it right, C8 or perfluorooctanoic acid. And for a long time, DuPont dumped the leftover C8 into the ground at their Washington Works facility near Parkersburg, West Virginia. And in the early 2000s, a local farmer named Earl Tennant found that his cows were dying near the facility's landfill. Turns out an investigation revealed massive illegal contamination of the C8 chemical in both the water and soil around the area. And digging deeper, reporters found over 60,000 internal DuPont documents revealing that the company had known about the dangers of C8 since the 1960s. See, while making Teflon, DuPont also made tons of other fluorinated compounds that leaked along with the C8. And their own studies proved that C8 caused tumors and damage to rats, dogs and monkeys' livers, kidneys and testicles. But despite all of this, they didn't tell the public or regulators, and they kept dumping C8 into the Ohio River. So by the 2000s, C8 showed up in 100% of Americans' blood. People living close to DuPont's plant had 5 to 10 times higher levels than those further away. And a lawsuit revealed links between C8 and 6 diseases, including kidney and testicular cancer. So under pressure, DuPont spun off their Teflon business to a new company called Chemours in 2015 and said, "See, we're not doing that anymore." Except they were still responsible for cleaning up the mess they made. And as it turns out, the new Teflon isn't exactly a health food either. After finding out about all the horrible effects of C8, they tried to create a replacement. They settled on Gen X, a smaller version of C8. And while it seems like a reasonable solution, it's not. Turns out Gen X spreads just as far and caused the same cancers in rats. So the problem isn't just Teflon. It's all of the similar chemicals that make up a group of about 14,000 synthetic chemicals called PFAS, or per, and polyfluoroalkyl substances. These forever chemicals are in everything from water-resistant clothing, to food packaging, to cosmetics, to electronics, and more. And due to their carbon-fluorine bonds, they too persist in the environment and in our bodies. In fact, a 2016 study found PFAS in blood samples from Tibetans who live far from any PFAS manufacturing plants. The contamination likely came from rainwater. That's because their strong bonds cause PFAS to spread everywhere, from grease-proof pizza boxes to dental floss to shampoo to rain to us. In fact, a recent test of my own blood found that I have higher than average levels of PFAS, probably from popcorn bags or food packaging or contaminated water. And research suggests that PFAS accumulate in our bodies and cause a range of immune, hormonal, and cancer-related problems. But here's the thing, these chemicals are also in things like medical gear and semiconductors. So we can't just ban them yet. But we do need to prevent them from contaminating the environment in the first place. We need more regulation and containment, and for companies to be more upfront about what they're putting in our products. Luckily, new tech like custom filters show a lot of promise for cleaning up PFAS in our drinking water. But the fight against forever chemicals is ultimately about stopping them from becoming forever waste.